Welcome to my channel. Before we get started, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. iPhone 14's new technologies. So make sure to watch the full video. The 6.1-inch and 6.7-inch iPhone 14, the company's most recent mainstream iPhones. The photonic engine boosts low light performance on the ultra-wide camera, the true depth camera, and the wide camera by up to 2x, 2x, and 2.5x, respectively, using a combination of hardware and software. By building on deep fusion, the photonic engine offers astounding detail, better color, and the preservation of subtle textures. An action mode is available for video and offers more effective image stabilization and smooth-looking video than ever before. Even when the video is taken in the midst of an event, the action mode can adapt to significant shakes, motion, and vibrations. Both 4K at 30 fps and 4K at 24 fps are now offered in cinematic mode, which has been improved. To provide more even lighting, the True Tone Flash is 10% brighter and has better uniformity. Despite having upgraded main and ultra-wide lenses, the iPhone 14 has the same dual camera setup as the iPhone 13. With its /1.5 aperture, the new main camera lets in 49% more light for every shot. A fresh process that Apple calls the photonic engine is advantageous for the main camera as well. When there is little light available, the photonic engine combines multiple pixels from various exposure levels to produce colors that are brighter and more lifelike. Design. Apart from new colors, the iPhone 14's design is essentially unchanged from that of the iPhone 13's. The design is identical to Apple's iPhones from the previous year, with flat sides and squared-off edges. The smaller screened iPhone 14 Plus, which is the same size as the iPhone 14 Pro Max, measures 6.7 inches in comparison to Apple's iPhone 14, which has a 6.1-inch screen. The all-glass front and colorful glass back with a color-coordinated aerospace-grade aluminum frame are features of the iPhone 14 models. The true depth camera, speaker, and microphone are all housed in a notch at the top of the display, which Apple has kept on its more affordable devices. A dynamic island has been substituted for a notch on the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max. On the top and sides of the phone, a set of antenna bands are visible, and the power, volume, and silence buttons are located on the right and left, respectively. A 5G M-Wave antenna is located underneath the power button, but it's only available on iPhone 14 models that are sold in the US. Resistance to water and dust. The IP68 rating for protection against dust and water infiltration applies to both the iPhone 14 and iPhone 14 Plus. Up to 6 meters, 19.7 feet, of water can be submerged in smartphones for up to 30 minutes without any damage. The 6 and 8 in the IP68 number stand for water resistance and dust resistance, respectively, meaning that the iPhone 14 can withstand exposure to both. There is a dust resistance rating of IP6X, which is the highest. The iPhone 14 has an IP68 rating, making it resistant to rain, splashes, and accidental water exposure, but it is best to avoid intentional water exposure. Display. Comparing the iPhone 14 models to the earlier iPhone 13 models, the display has not undergone any changes. The OLED Super Retina XDR display on the iPhone 14 and iPhone 14 Plus has a contrast ratio of 2,000,000:1 for darker blacks and brighter whites, and it can reach a peak brightness of 1,200 nits for HDR images, videos, TV shows, and movies. The standard iPhone 14 model's maximum brightness is typically 800 nits, 200 nits less than the 14 Pro model's maximum brightness. The A15 Bionic chip. The A15 processor found in the iPhone 14 and 14 Plus is the same one that was employed in the iPhone 13 Pro and Pro Max, marking the first occasion when Apple has left the A-series chip unchanged for the entire iPhone lineup. Although Apple used an A16 chip in the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max, the 14 and 14 Plus did not have it. With a 6-core CPU and 5-core GPU, the A15 has 2 performance cores, 4 efficiency cores, and 1 power core. There have still been advancements since Apple only used the A15's 5-core GPU version in the iPhone 13 Pro models last year, while the iPhone 13 and 13 mini used the A15's 4-core GPU version. Between the iPhone 13 and iPhone 14, CPU performance is roughly comparable, but GPU performance has seen some slight advancements. Furthermore, Apple has updated its internal architecture to improve thermal efficiency. Nervous system. Features like cinematic mode and smart HDR4 are made possible by the A15 chip's 16-core neural engine, which is capable of up to 15.8 trillion operations per second. the True Depth Camera and Face ID. Face ID, the facial recognition technology unveiled in 2017, is still used by the iPhone 14 and 14 Plus. However, the standard iPhone 14 models still have a display notch for the True Depth Camera hardware. Apple removed the notch from the iPhone 14 Pro models. The iPhone transmits the facial depth map to the A15 chip, which converts it into a mathematical model for use in identity verification. Face ID is effective in dimly lit areas, at night, and while wearing hats, beards, glasses, sunglasses, scarves, and other accessories that partially cover the face. Face ID now supports masks as of iOS 15.5. Functionalities of the front camera. The 12-megapixel front-facing camera on Apple's iPhone 14 models has been updated and now has an f/1.9 aperture, allowing for more light than before for better selfies and FaceTime video calls. Additionally, the camera now has autofocus, which enhances image quality and makes selfies in low light 2 times better. On the front-facing camera, additional features like quick take video, slow-mo video, portrait mode, portrait lighting, and the photographic styles feature for selectively applying edits are supported. Dual lens back camera. Apple now refers to the 12-megapixel wide lens on the iPhone 14 and 14 Plus as the main lens, and the 12-megapixel ultra-wide lens on the iPhone 14 and 14 Plus as the second lens. In comparison to the iPhone 13 camera's /1.6 aperture, Apple's main camera now has an f/1.5 aperture. The larger sensor and new lens let in more light for enhanced performance in dim lighting. In comparison to the iPhone 13 camera, Apple claims the new main camera lets in 49% more light. Laser engine. The Photonic engine is a new iPhone 14 software feature that expands on Deep Fusion by implementing it earlier in the imaging process to provide more detail, maintain subtle textures, and enhance the color in the picture. Both for the main lens and the ultra-wide lens, the Photonic engine, according to Apple, provides a giant leap in mid to low light photo performance. The main camera's low light performance could be up to 2.5 times better with Photonic engine, and the ultra-wide camera's performance could be up to 2 times better. Battery life. The iPhone 14's battery, which is slightly bigger than the one from the iPhone 13's predecessor at 3,279 mAh, was released in 2015. 4.325 mAh power the iPhone 14 Plus. The iPhone 14 has a battery life of up to 20 hours for playing back videos, up to 16 hours for streaming videos, and up to 80 hours for playing back audio, which is an hour longer than the iPhone 13. Access to 5G. A 5G-capable Qualcomm Snapdragon X65 modem is included in the iPhone 14 models. While only sub-6 GHz is available in other countries, iPhone users in the US can connect to both mmWave and sub-6 GHz networks. The fastest 5G networks are those that use mmWave technology. However, mmWave is short-range and can be blocked by objects like trees, buildings, and other obstructions. As a result, its use is restricted to major cities and urban areas as well as locations like airports, concert venues, and other places where large crowds gather. Via satellite, emergency services. In an emergency when cellular and Wi-Fi connections are down, all iPhone 14 models can connect to satellites. With the new emergency SOS via satellite feature, Apple has made it possible for the iPhone's antennas to communicate with Globalstar satellites. The feature is intended to be used in open areas with few trees so the iPhone can connect to an aerial satellite. Satellite communications are available in emergency situations where you cannot connect to Wi-Fi or a cellular tower. Detecting crashes. The iPhone 14 models contain a high dynamic range gyroscope and a dual-core accelerometer that can measure G-force measurements of up to 256 Gs. When combined with other iPhone sensors, such as a barometer that can identify changes in cabin pressure brought on by deployed airbags, this new hardware makes it possible to use a crash detection feature. MagSafe. The back of the iPhone 14 models continues to have MagSafe magnets, which can be used to attach the MagSafe charger and other magnetic accessories. The iPhone 14 models can receive up to 15 watts of wireless charging from approved third parties and Apple-branded MagSafe chargers. Accessibility and price. Pricing for the iPhone 14 starts at $799 for 128 GB of storage, and for the iPhone 14 Plus it is $899. Costlier options for extra storage are offered. The Apple Store online, Apple retail locations, and independent sellers all sell the iPhone 14 and iPhone 14 Pro models. iPhone rumors for the future. According to display analyst Ross Young, 2023 iPhones will likely have a dual-hole cutout similar to the models from this year's iPhone 14 Pro lineup. Dynamic islands will be a part of all 2023 models, not just the Pro models, and they will all have the same design. However, it will be a few years before Apple is ready for full under-display Face ID. The pill and hole design may become a little smaller. So, that's it for today. We hope you enjoyed the video. Use the comment section below to tell us what you think about the video. Also, subscribe to our channel and click the bell button to be notified of all the latest videos.